Welcome to the 33rd Annual Mayor's Environment Expo. As we come together from around the city, I would like to acknowledge that the Calgary area, where the Bow and Elbow Rivers meet, is a place of confluence, where the sharing of ideas and opportunities naturally come together. Indigenous people were the original caretakers of this land and the first champions of environmental conservation. This land is a home that we all share, and it's vitally important that we protect our home, our environment, by working together. What drives my optimism is seeing the innovation and commitment to climate action from all of you, our students. I will continue to amplify youth voices on the climate crisis, and I look forward to hearing your ideas. I hope this session sparks conversations and encourages all of us to take greater action in protecting our environment. Thank you all for participating.
Well, thank you for joining us today. Our presentation is on air quality. It's We Affect Air Quality and Air Quality Affects Us. My name is Tanya Carlson. I'm the Engagement Program Manager with the Calgary Region Airshed Zone.
And I'm Mandeep Dhaliwal, the Air Quality Program Manager for Calgary Region Airshed Zone.
We'd like to do a land acknowledgement. We would like to echo the territorial acknowledgement from the Mayor's Environment Expo's opening ceremony and remind everyone that we are broadcasting from the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region in Southern Alberta and the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. We acknowledge all Indigenous urban Calgarians who have made Calgary their home. So here's what we're going to be talking about today. Why do we care about the air? How do we monitor air quality? How do we affect our air quality? How does Calgary compare to the world? And what can we do to help? Please let us know if you have any questions along the way, and we will keep our eye on the chat. So why do we care about the air? We want to care for the air and keep it healthy and clean. Did you know that kids breathe more frequently than adults? Clean air means clean water and healthy plants and animals. And kids who are breathing more, their lungs are still developing, and poor air quality could affect the development of their lungs. So this is why we work hard on monitoring and caring for the air. How do we monitor the air? In Alberta, there's 10 airsheds that monitor the air. In Calgary, the Calgary Region Airshed Zone works with members of the public and industries, members of government. We all work together to monitor and help care for the air. And there's 1.8 million people living in the CRAZ region. And you'll see it on the map in the lower left-hand corner in the blue square. And we have a little video to share.
What is an airshed? There are 10 regional airshed organizations in Alberta. Airsheds are important to have in our communities because air pollution poses the largest environmental health risk to us. The health risks include breathing and lung problems, heart conditions, and increased risk of stroke. Airsheds keep an eye on local air quality by monitoring air pollutants and by measuring weather conditions. They report and share this data with governments, Indigenous communities, academics, the public, industries, and other interested stakeholders. This information is also used to determine the Air Quality Health Index, which lets us know if the outside air poses a risk to our health. Alberta airsheds inform decision-making, teach the public about the importance of clean air, and work with the communities they're a part of. They're a vital contributor to managing air quality. Learn how you can get involved with your local airsheds by visiting our website, albertaairshedscouncil.ca.
Okay, so one term that we always hear is climate change. Everybody is talking about climate change. That is it happening or is it not happening? Or what is its impact on human beings? Climate change is a little different from air quality. So I'll talk a little bit about the climate change, that anytime something happens over 20 or 30 years time period is considered a change. And if it's happening with respect to the climate, then we call it a climate change. And the other term is the air quality. So now air quality affects humans, but it also can, in return, change the climate as well. However, climate change can happen naturally, and it can also be caused by humans. Now, how much of that is caused by humans is a question for another day. But one thing we should know is it's going to have an impact on humans over the next 10, 20 years. And the other term we also hear is the greenhouse gases. And what do they have to do with the climate change? We're going to talk about that on the next slide. And first, we're going to talk about the activities that emit greenhouse gases. So it's animals, factories, cars, and vehicles that we drive, and the houses that we heat. We use the heating systems in our houses, and that can cause greenhouse gases. Now, let's talk about how is it impacting, why is it causing climate change? So the sunlight that hits the Earth is reflected, but some of it becomes hot in the process. And during the reflection process, theoretically, if it hits 100% of the Earth, some of it's supposed to go back to the environment. However, when we have greenhouse gases, they can trap the heat near the Earth's surface and then causing the Earth's temperatures to rise. That's what basically climate change is. So means we're heating up the environment or Earth environment and causing the climate to change. So on a normal day, I guess we should be, whatever we're getting from the sun, the heat should be going back, right? So if we get 100% from the sun, 100% will go back, and in the process, it will heat up the Earth, and we'll be living in a living environment. Most of it gets absorbed by the land and oceans, and then if you can see on the right-hand side at the top, 70% is reflected back to the upper atmosphere. Now, if these are all theoretical numbers, so 30% of the heat from the sun is captured and stays around the Earth's environment, and that makes us makes the Earth a living environment. However, if we have more greenhouse gases near the Earth's environment, it means that we're going to trap more heat. We're not going to let it escape, so the Earth is going to get warmer and warmer. Next slide, please. And as I was talking about earlier, that air pollution can be caused by natural sources and human sources. Now, natural sources are forest fires, wind-blown dust, volcanic activities, and anything that disrupts the Earth that can cause volatile organic compounds or carbon dioxide and methane. The human activities that result in air pollution are factories, power plants, small stationary sources such as dry cleaners, and mobile sources that are all of us driving our cars, buses, trucks, and planes around, and even trains. So those are the ones that are impacting and causing air pollution as well.
So one of the main things that affects the air quality in Calgary is the wildfire smoke. And I think we've all experienced that in the past few years, and we have a little video.
The frequency of large wildfires throughout Western North America is increasing, and experts suggest that this trend is likely to continue. Wildfire smoke is harmful to your health because it contains increased amounts of fine particulate matter, small particles 1/8 the size of a human hair. Inhaling smoke is more damaging to people who have cardiovascular or respiratory issues, and to children, pregnant women, or the elderly. You can make a difference on a smoky day by reducing your exposure to outdoor air and your own emissions. Download the AQHI app to stay up to date on air quality in your area. The app will let you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how clean the air is outdoors. A lower number means cleaner air. Find out more information about air.
All right, so how do we monitor the air quality? There's a number of ways to monitor the air quality. There's some expensive methods, and there are some cost-effective methods that are coming around nowadays. So the one you see on the left-hand side, that's to have a station like that, you are looking at $250,000 in capital investment, and then on an annual basis, you're looking at $50,000 a year to operate that station. Now we have 3 of those stations, the one on the left. We have 3 stations in Calgary, and the 4th one is the one in the middle. You see the mobile unit. It's like a truck. That one goes around in a region and stays at one spot for 6 months. So currently that one is in Chestermere. And then you also have a small sensor on the right-hand side in the picture. That one is called a purple air sensor. It only monitors one compound. Now the other 2 stations monitor 4 to 5 different compounds. Now the most important compound is the particulate matter PM2.5. That poses a significant risk to humans and animals as well. So this one is called PM2.5 because the diameter or the size of the particle is 2.5 microns. So that is almost 30 times smaller than human hair. This compound is what is it? Is it a gaseous compound or is it a liquid or a solid? It's actually all of them. So whatever you see in the on a normal dusty day, you'll see a PM10, which is slightly bigger than this compound. But this compound, you don't see it. You can see it some days when you see the haze out there, but most of the time you don't see it and you don't feel it when you breathe it in. And the other important compound is the ground level ozone, which is a secondary pollutant. So it's made up of nitrogen oxides and volatile organic compounds that are combined in the presence of heat and sunlight that cause ozone.
So the health risk of PM2.5 and ground level ozone, it can aggravate your asthma. So you could possibly have more asthma attacks, lung inflammation, pneumonia, and this could all lead to increased school and work absenteeism and reduced physical activity and work productivity. And there could also be more visits to the hospital. And this is why we care about monitoring the air to make sure we have low levels of PM2.5 and ground level ozone. And who's the most at risk would be kids and children, seniors, and elderly, or people living with health conditions such as diabetes, asthma, or COPD. So as you've seen in a couple of the videos, the air quality health risk. So in Calgary, our risk is actually pretty low. We're usually in average around a 2 or a 3. So we're usually in the blue zone, but we can jump up to a red zone very quickly with wildfire smoke. So how does Calgary compare to the rest of the world? So do you want to tell them what this red line means?
Yeah, so red line is the criteria or the limit that we shouldn't be going above. So it's a World Health Organization guideline, which tells you that you should not be above this line. Now you can see on here that Calgary is mostly under this line, and other Canadian cities or the city that you're seeing is Montreal. That is exceeding this line. And some of the other places such as Hong Kong, Paris, Rome, Barcelona, Amsterdam, London, look at their numbers, way above the World Health Organization guideline. So for the most part, we're doing pretty good. We're below this guideline.
But what can we all do to help, and what can you do as students? You can ride your bike, scooter, or walk to school instead of driving. You can remind your parents to turn off their car if they do drive you and are waiting for you at the school. We see that happening quite a bit. We see a long line of parents outside of schools with their vehicles running. So it was just a good reminder to tell your parents to maybe turn their vehicle off while they wait for you. Another good idea is to turn down your thermostat or your heat source or your air conditioning when nobody is at home. So a programmable thermostat is really easy to use for this. So we have another video that was just filmed right here in Calgary.
I've got the blues, I feel so lonely. I'd give the world if I could only ask you, won't you please come home? 'Cause when you're gone, I worry all day long.
Your customers are your neighbors.
Oh, sorry. Oh, there we go. So that video just showed us a little bit about, idling outside the school, and it was turning all the kids into zombies. And here's another one for all you hockey players, ice skaters.
Hey man, come warm up with us. I am warming up.
Come play with us.
Warming up.
Okay. Hey, come warm up with us.
I am warming up. You coming? I'm warming up. This is me warming up. Game's on, man. I'm warming up. This is what warming up looks like. Warming up. Get on the ice, man. Get on the ice. Quit asking me. How about now? Hockey. Now let's do it. Oh, I broke my stick. I broke my stick and I'm falling down. Someone, pass me the puck.
So that video just showed that vehicles, instead of having them idling for half an hour, 60 seconds or less is all that a vehicle needs to warm up, and it actually warms up better when the vehicle is driving. And we just have one final video for you today, and we'll go into a Kahoot. So next week on June 8th is our Clean Air Day that we celebrate all across Canada. So this is just giving us some little ideas of what we can do to help.
Summer. The eternal struggle begins anew. Give it a minute.
Nope, totally wrong.
Might not think it. Even a small gas-powered lawnmower emits the same amount of pollutants in an hour as a 700-kilometer road trip in a car. If you're just going for a quick trip for some groceries or to the library, maybe leave the car at home. Our cars average 4 tons of CO2 emissions every year. Really, guys? Campfire smoke contains major pollutants. It can really be harmful to your health. Why don't we try this instead? Try this instead. Why don't you try one of these instead? Air quality affects everyone. It's up to us to be everyday air heroes. For ourselves, for our family, and for our community.
So thank you, everyone. That is our presentation, but we have a Kahoot that we're going to share. And then after the Kahoot, we will have time for questions. Just give me 1 second.
Start.
There you go. I hope everybody can see that. Same pin 4658504. I'll just put it into the chat as well. Thank you. Oh, good. We're getting some people started, joining. If you have any questions after the session, we will also be around to answer. Okay, we'll wait a few more seconds. All right, we're going to go ahead and start. Good job to everybody. Thank you so much. Congratulations to our winners of our Kahoots. So if anybody has any air quality questions for Mandeep or I, please put it into the Q&A and we'll be happy to answer. Let's see, we don't have any yet. So the AQHI is very important for everybody to know. It's the Air Quality Health Index, the numbers from 1 to 10, and it's the lower the number, the lower the risk. So in Calgary, again, we have good air quality. We're usually around a 2 or 3, except some days we may have smog in the city, which may contribute to an AQHI of maybe a 5 or 6. And sometimes we might go all the way to a 10 plus, which can contribute mainly to wildfire smoke that we get in the city. And hopefully we'll be lucky this summer that we won't see it. And please remember for Clean Air Day next week, it's Wednesday, and we would love for everybody to do one thing that they think is good for the air quality. So you could ride your bike to school, you could recycle, you could turn the heat down in your house or the air conditioning down in your house. You can remind your parents to not idle in front of the schools, or you can remind your parents when you're going to, say, McDonald's to park their vehicle and go inside instead of using a drive-through. So just pick your favorite way to help protect our air quality. Thank you so much for attending today, everyone.